I've been a UI UX designer for more than 5 years now. I was thinking about some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned over the years, and I narrowed it down to the top 3. So hopefully by hearing me talk about some of these lessons, it will help you to get farther along in your career faster, because these are things that you need to know to work with some of the best companies. Before getting into it, I'm thinking about putting 5 people together to work one-on-one with me to review their portfolios and help them to get their first job or clients. So if that's something you're interested in, email me the word portfolio to kyletorresdesign@gmail.com. I'll also include the email in the description. All right, so the first lesson is to always embrace failure in your designs. Many of the great products and user experiences that you see out on the market were not designed on their first attempt. The best UX designers will design something, test it with their users, and then gradually improve on their designs based on what they've learned. The best approach to take to testing is to look for all of the things that might be wrong with the design, rather than looking for all the ways it could potentially work and gaining a false sense of optimism. I've definitely made that mistake before. It's also important to remember that this testing and learning can really take a long time. It can even take years to develop a truly great user experience. An important part of the design process is to start testing at the earliest stages possible. I even know of some designers that will start evaluating their designs just simply by drawing a UI on a piece of paper and getting feedback from users. The early testing phase is crucial because it could help you to identify some major flaws with the design before moving on to some of the more important stages of the design process, or even before it goes into development. Even though early testing is valuable, the very best way to learn if a design is working or if it isn't is to ship something, get it in the hands of users, and observe what their real behavior is like. That allows you to know if your designs are solving a problem, because if it is, they're going to either come back and continue using the product or put money down to continue using it. A good example of a company that followed this approach is actually Instagram. They started as an app called Bourbon, which was a location-based check-in app that had different gaming elements in it. Through testing and experimentation, they realized that many of their features were overly complex, and the overall adoption of their app was not great. But one thing they did learn is that the photo sharing feature on the app was doing pretty well, and that was causing some users to keep coming back. They decided to double down on the photo sharing and continue iterating and improving on that, and then discarded all of the other features that weren't working. That is how they arrived at the designs for the app that most of us use today. Now, the second lesson is actually closely related to the first lesson, and that is, a few great features are better than many mediocre features. This kind of thinking can also be applied to any large UX project as well. A good design has a clear problem that it is aiming to solve for a very specific kind of person. The features that make up that design will solve that problem and not do much more beyond that. This is the mantra of many great startups, but this kind of thinking can also be applied to any large UX project as well. A good design has a clear problem that it is aiming to solve for a very specific kind of person. The features that make up that design will solve that problem and not do much more beyond that. This kind of user experience makes it much more likely that the person that the product was meant for will quickly see the value in it and continue coming back and using it, making it a part of their lives. The alternative to this is what I like to call a Swiss Army knife user experience. I'm sure you've seen products that have done this. It's where they'll include many different features in their product that don't have a clear problem that they're aiming to solve and a purpose behind them. As I mentioned in the first lesson, this is what Instagram did in their early versions. A good example of a company who has taken this approach of having a few great features is Uber. When they first started out, they actually only had one feature. It was a map with a button that said, "Pick me up." The value proposition was very clear. You could just order a ride at the touch of a button, nothing more, nothing less. As the app evolved, they aimed to solve more problems, but every time they did, their features were a great example of designs that only include the essentials and have a very clear value to them. The third lesson is most of the time, the best design solution probably already exists in other products. The majority of features and components that we design are commonly seen in other successful products. When designing those features, it's usually best to utilize existing patterns that have been tested and proven to work effectively. Doing this will not only save time and effort, but also ensure that our designs are intuitive and easy to understand. Now, this doesn't mean that you should just blindly copy what you see in other products, but it means that you should understand the underlying principles of what makes them effective and then adapt them to the specific needs of your design project. This doesn't mean that there isn't a time and place to be innovative. The innovative design work is usually best utilized in the features that differentiate the product and solve an unaddressed need for users. What you'll see in many new successful products is they'll have an application that looks and functions like many other similar products on the market, but they'll have a few key features that really differentiate it and provide a unique value. As an example, let's take a look at an app called Picture This. It is a mobile app that allows you to take pictures of plants in your house. Then it will identify problems with them and give you a plan on how to care for it. It's one of the top education apps in the App Store right now. Their app is essentially made of components that are almost identical to many other apps on the market, but they're able to deliver this great innovative experience by the ease in which you're able to take a picture and then get instant results that are helpful to you. Besides that, things like using the camera, visualizing data, and setting reminders all follow common successful design patterns. That's all I have for today. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're new here and haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so because I'm regularly coming out with new videos where I'm sharing the most helpful things that I know about succeeding in UI UX design. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.